what might be useful is like, what are the objective benefits of TRE that you've come across? I think for people that are maybe new to it or they've like not really heard much about it, like because I know there's a lot of subjective benefits, and I felt a lot of them. But like, what does the science show, or what does the research show about TRE?
Yeah, well, we could look at so on the research side, we could look at it sort of two dimensions, both a sort of a kind of a nervous system regulation and a trauma lens, and then we could also look at it from a more musculoskeletal pain perspective or even chronic disease perspective. So starting and Dr. Briselli developed this primarily for that first application, working with people over in conflict areas, natural disaster relief, in his capacity as a field traumatologist. So his initial setting was really about the shock trauma from big events and people with PTSD. So it was definitely more on that trauma nervous system lens. And we've now expanded the use to many more applications than simply for trauma. So a lot of the early research focuses on just outcome studies for PTSD. And so there's been studies in the military, like in the VA military hospital system in the United States. There have been some larger groups and some smaller groups that sort of have shown that efficacy for basically for PTSD reduction. And some of the research happening right now, the best research going on is in China at a couple of research hospitals. And there they are studying, so that we don't have the results yet, but we're hoping to get positive results. But the study groups are, let me think, adolescents with depression and then adults with anxiety. So those are those study groups. So the research base, we haven't had a lot in terms of random controlled trials. Like that's a scale that needs to sort of be developed into. But the research base we have right now is very good on that PTSD reduction side. I believe on the anxiety reduction side. So those nervous system regulation benefits are pretty well established. Improvements in heart rate variability, as an indicator of parasympathetic shift and vagal tone. So that we want to get more evidence, but we have good objective sort of data in that domain. And then we also have some pretty good research happening around specific disease processes. So we have a trainer and facilitator whose field has been in multiple sclerosis. He's based in Denmark. And so he's done some large studies specifically with MS. And showing very positive pain reduction, movement capacity, so that's a good group around sort of a degenerative disease process. And then at least at the small scale level, I mean, anecdotally, we have tons of evidence, but on the sort of the more research side, some smaller things are applied to things like back pain, sciatica. That's probably an area of the research that we need to develop more because it's kind of low-hanging fruit, because we see those kinds of just as much as we see PTSD reduction, stress reduction, all of that. We equally see benefits in the physical musculoskeletal domain. So that'd be my description.